Can anyone become suicidal? Psychology versus reality and law. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our channel. Today, we are discussing a very sensitive but highly important topic that needs our full attention from beginning to the end. Globally, the rate of suicide keeps increasing almost each year, with so many beautiful lives going waste. Suicide has undeniably become one of the leading causes of death in the United States. In the US, for example, suicide rate increased approximately 36% between the year 2000 and 2021. In 2021 alone, America recorded 48,183 deaths by suicide. This translates into about one death every 11 minutes. Again, in same 2021, an estimated 12.3 million American adults seriously thought about suicide. 3.5 million of them planned a suicide attempt, and 1.7 million of them attempted suicide. Another crucial thing to know is the fact that as of 2021, suicide was among the top 9 leading causes of death among people ages 10 to 64 years. What is even more heartbreaking is the fact that suicide was the second leading cause of death among people ages 10 to 14 and 20 to 34. What does this reveal to us? Suicide is a very serious issue that must be given a full global attention before it's too late for all of us. I will dive deeper into the uglies of it and possible way out in my next video on the topic. Suicide, my brothers and sisters, is a critical topic that many shy away from when raised. Yet it's one of the most devastating psycho-emotional and socio-legal issue that is closer to us. Our children, relatives, friends, colleague workers, and even our role models than we often imagine. Oftentimes, when the topic or issue of suicide is raised, the response we get or hear is, "Suicide is never an option." Well, that should be ideal, isn't it? Sure, it should. But no, it is impractical. There are more to the issue of suicide than mere words of "it's not an option." So, as good as that saying may sound, it does not address the issue of suicide. As a professional counselor and a student of law, I would like to dive a little deeper into this issue. What am I driving at? Every human has his or her breaking point. And when one gets to that breaking point, your advice means nothing to them anymore. Fear leaves them. Sympathy and empathy leave them. Critical reasoning leaves them. Nothing on earth and nothing about humans makes sense to them any longer. At this point, the only thing remaining with them that pressures them for enforcement is causing harm. And this harm, according to me, Counselor Dion, could best be described as quasi-positive or pure negative harm. My own coinages to describe the conditions. Quasi-positive harm, remember, it's my own coinage, is one that upon all the available resources and opportunities to the sufferer to destroy many other lives, he or she directed the harm destruction onto him or herself alone. For instance, a driver at his breaking point who refused to drive on that day, or refused to destroy many more lives through road accident, and rather chose to isolate himself by causing the harm to himself alone, is hereafter referred to as a quasi-positive harmist. Another is one that own a firing arm. Instead of causing harm or shooting to death members of, say, his nuclear family, wife, and children. Homicide, for causing him irreparable damages. He turns it on to himself alone by shooting himself to death. Suicide, such as also a quasi-positive harm. Another is one that instead of harming his cheating partner and the newly found partner, plus all other accomplices such as family and friends, he rather limits it to the cheating partner alone, without extending it to others. Or someone who prepares food for a company, or sells food to the general public instead of poisoning the food for the entire workers or public. She chose to direct the harm onto herself by doing it to herself alone. All the above acts are what I personally refer to as quasi-positive harm. The opposite of the quasi-positive harm is the pure negative harm. In the pure negative harm, instead of directing the harm onto him or herself, they rather end up causing harm, death, to so many lives. including partners, children, some family members, certain friends, or generally all suspected accomplices. Under the pure negative approach, the destroyer may end up destroying the lives of the suspects together with his or without touching his or her own life. She either then tenders himself to the police for arrest and prosecution or be on the run. The above act is what I personally refer to as pure negative harm. I call it so because no one has the right to take another's life or harm another except under self-defense. Remember, the force you apply must be proportional to the one exerted at you. Extreme provocation, insanity, and to some extent, intoxication. But those are legal issues, hence wouldn't delve into that now. Both positive harm and the pure negative harm approaches can be said to be evil. Yet they're both a part of our realities that cannot be overlooked or eradicated entirely from society. As a result, once we see the signs, we must quickly do whatever it is within our capabilities to help the sufferers regain at least a bit of their senses by making them feel quite belonging. Note: it is when they find no one to open up to or when lots of people are condemning them that they keep the pains to themselves until they get to their breaking point, the point of almost no return, where committing a crime becomes the only option. At this point, almost no advice is meaningful to them. At this point, the best you can do is to find means to put a little laughter or smile on their faces. Difficult though. At this juncture, again, they don't need your advice. What they may need is a hand to hold, someone to walk around with, someone to hug, someone to dine with, someone ready to occupy their time, etc. When someone is at his or breaking point, never try to let them go back to the object that has caused their psychiatric problems. Never try to settle their issues at that point, to bring them back together, otherwise there's a higher probability of a pure negative harm happening in no distant time. So take them away from the object. Relocate them if possible. Give them a source of livelihood, if they have lost it or don't already have any. Make them a part of your family, if possible. Spend enough time with them and ensure there is always someone with or around them. Get a psychiatrist and a psychologist for them immediately. Note: book those professionals to come over to meet the sufferer rather than attempting to take him or to their facilities or consortiums, for it makes the sufferer feel quite special. It must be noted that everyone responds to problems or challenges differently. Some don't have problem-solving skills at all. Some have a little, and others have so much skills at their fingertips. Some people cannot share their problems with anyone. They harbor everything due to their upbringing or personal reasons. These group of persons are those that are most likely to end up with quasi-positive or pure negative approach when at their breaking point. It's almost impossible to notice that they're at their breaking point. This category of persons sacrifices almost their entire lives for their partners, family, and people around them so much that their lives are almost centered on those persons. They're overly loyal. They ensure the people they trust don't luck anything. They make a way where there seems to be no way for them. They endure all embarrassments just to save the image of people they trust. They do all sorts of menial jobs, with some incurring so much debt just to ensure the people they care so much about lack nothing. They don't mind going to jail for the people they trust or love. They will do everything possible to ensure the people they trust become successful and enjoy life. They make life easier for the people they trust. In relationships, they don't cheat, and they hardly make or keep friends. They're technically loners, but they don't mind. They give their all for the people they trust. They hardly spend on themselves. Therefore, any little disappointments or betrayal can be fatal. It turns them into something else that can hardly be contained by anyone. What is terrifying about this group is the fact that majority of them almost never get suspected of a possible crime or harm being committed by them until they unleash it. They are more likely or prone to employing the two harmful approaches discussed earlier: quasi-positive approach, harming themselves, and the pure negative approach, harming everyone suspected to be involved in their pain. The second group opens up, but with a limitation. They hardly tell you the most important things about themselves that would have helped you guide them. They keep the sensitive parts to themselves. This second group are on and off, and they are in the majority in society. They easily entertain suicidal thoughts, but many of them end up aborting the mission early or try the slowest form of it. About a third of them actually go ahead to terminate their lives. Majority of those in this category can look so cheerful and lively, yet can't even handle a common shame or embarrassments that approaches or visits them. They immediately feel useless and become suicidal for disappointing everyone around them. Meanwhile, these are the category of people that are so quick to offer advice to others. In fact, they will give you thousands of reasons not to suspect your partner, not to engage in any harmful banter with your partner or friends or family, millions of reasons not to even ever think of suicide, let alone attempting it, etc. Yet, they are the very persons that are unable to withstand shocks in their relationships, businesses, family, or from friends. They soon forget to apply or are unable to apply their own advice or principles to their lives when confronted with same or similar challenges. They're those that mostly think they're too smart and knows what they are doing. They feel it can't happen to them. Many times, persons in this category are advised about their choices. Partner, S, expenditure or extravagance. Their children, family, friends, expectations, etc., but brushes them off and may even accuse those persons or snitch to their partner, S, or the others they were cautioned about. They trust their partners and sometimes their in-laws so much that they don't listen to warnings from outsiders, including family, friends, and strangers. They trust certain workers or certain family members or certain friends so much that when reality hits them, they lose their otherwise fine brains and thoughts, lose their world, feel gravely betrayed, feel everyone will blame them for refusing to see it coming, feel impossible to regain themselves and their losses, feel useless, and therefore can't withstand the socio-emotional and financial ridicules that comes with it as a package. People in this group are more likely to resort to the quasi-positive approach, harming themselves. The last category is those that opens up about almost every little thing. They always have people, not one person, they talk to about their challenges, suspicions, hurts, plans, etc. These categories of persons are those I consider to be almost outside the two approaches of destruction earlier discussed. They seem to always have it in mind that anything can happen, and at any time. Hence, they seem to be unconsciously prepared for the worst. And when it happens, they either don't get bothered or just get bothered for a little while and switches quickly to normalcy. In their relationships, including marriage, no matter the investments or time spent, if their partner cheats, wants to walk away or walks away, it doesn't surprise nor break them. They accept the reality and move on as though a full burden had been taken off them, setting them free enough to start their lives again and for better. Further, when it comes to moving on, they move on easily without drama and make their lives even better. This third group will neither harm nor allow themselves to be harmed. This last group never entertains any suicide thoughts. In fact, no matter the situations they find themselves in, they never become suicidal, and they are the least group in society. In sum, only few people are free from suicidal thoughts, irrespective of the challenges that come their way. The majority of people, about 8 out of 10, become suicidal at a point in their lives, and about 5 out of the 8 are more likely to resort to one of the harmful actions described earlier, quasi-positive harm or pure negative harm, if not detected earlier to avert it. Those that get suspected usually get help or are able to be managed. Some will never get suspected. Others some way somehow got suspected, but was either ignored or not taken seriously until they went ahead to unleash it onto themselves or commit homicide as a result. Only few of the unsuspecting people change their minds at the last point, due to another person, that mattered to them most, many times their children or parents. So, brothers and sisters, mothers and fathers, let us not joke with suicidal tendencies. Let us not think it is far from us or far from us or far from our homes, for kids are even entertaining such thoughts these days. Please don't take this message lightly. Let us all try to find some person or persons we can open up to on issues that bothers us. For everyone needs someone at a point in life. Let us listen and offer help to those that open up to us. And if we suspect anyone of being suicidal, let us get closer to them to offer emotional support and possibly financial support, if needed. And if we can, let us avoid condemning, ridiculing, teasing, laughing, and gossiping about those that open up to us, no matter how silly we may find their issues to be. Ladies and gentlemen, please don't hesitate to post your challenges here for help. Don't hesitate to post what is eating you up emotionally, at home or at your workplace for guidance. If you see danger or shame coming your way, kindly share with us here to see how best we can all be of help. Sometimes, just one simple guidance can be the game changer that will set your mind free and eventually help reduce the fear, suspicion, pressure, or even remedy the situation. Finally, remember that seeking help is a sign of strength, not weakness. We are a community that values justice, compassion, and support. If you or someone you know is struggling, reach out. Together, we can rewrite the narrative and provide hope. Your life is a precious story, and you are the author. Reach out, speak up, and let others help you write the chapters ahead. Please don't harm yourself. Don't die without being heard. At this point, let me pause and ask a simple but very important question. Have you been suicidal before? If yes, what caused your suicidal tendency, and how did you overcome it? If you have, kindly share your experience with us. If you like our message, kindly consider subscribing to this channel. Now become a part of this wonderful family. Be safe out there.